welcome to the very first episode of Off the Record. As you know now, this show is about absolutely nothing, but we're going to talk about everything. And from an intergenerational lens to try to find common ground about difficult concepts sometimes to talk about, but what we can prove is you'd be surprised how much we agree on if we just communicate about it. So my guess is none other than Philly's own Q Dez. So you know you had to be my first guest.
Oh man, now you putting pressure on me. I gotta make this good. I gotta give you some juice or some dirt or something. I gotta, you know what I mean? We gotta get some headlines.
So you know where I got this first idea. The genesis of it came from me and you at my breakfast table eating breakfast, and you said we should do this or you should try this, and here we are. So thank you for the inspiration, bro.
No, listen, thank you. I would have been there. Like, Corona is insanely crazy. So I'm, me and my wife actually had it in like November going into December, man. And it was like, I'm an energy guy. So it was like, oh man, like now you see the numbers going up. So I'm like, just making sure I'm stay safe, man. And keeping everybody else safe.
Let me catch up with you. So during 2020, you went through a pandemic. You went through Trump mania, and then you went through a social uprising. How did you handle all that?
I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna give you your first headline. For me, last year was so transformational because some of the things that my father's still living. He lives down in Delaware, but some of the things he's been telling me to fight for and do kind of came to a head this summer. And, with all the social injustice and all the things going on, I will just say this. It was, I was looking at my life, I was looking at my career, and I decided to leave Fox. I left Fox in October. And for me, it was like, dude, I'm 42 now. And I'm in a point in my life where I probably have lived more years. I got more years behind me than in front of me. So how can I make this?
Don't say that. Come on, Q. Don't say that. I'm way older than you.
Okay, listen, I'm just looking at the numbers. Right? So for me, it was like certain things I wanted to do, but I was so like scared. So what last year did for me was make me step out on faith, which I've done before. But take my career, take my life, take my family, in my own hands. So I'm really, really happy, really excited, but even more excited to even be talking to you right now.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time. So Q and I, we really got tight at my man Antoine's wedding. Remember that?
Yes, sir. That was, man, I mean, 12, 13 years ago. Yep.
Yeah. And so as the old head in the bunch, I was invited by Antoine as his set-aside old head. He must have spent in yesterday's money close to 70 grand on that wedding.
Yeah, or maybe more.
There was malignant shrimp the size of your hand on there. He had first class acts crooning and singing and not to mention that ring that gave his wife carpal tunnel. My man did it big.
Yeah, he did it. Yeah, he did it so big. I told my wife, like, don't have any ideas because we got married the same year. I said, don't even think we're going to do, don't look at this. Close your eyes. Because we didn't do that.
Well, look at you now with a whole family. Tell me, how many kids now?
My oldest son turns 10.
Did you have to think about that, Q?
No.
You seem confused. What the fuck?
No, I was trying to tell you the ages, right? Because you say three, you can't just say three sons. So one turns 10 in April, the middle turns 7 next month, and then the youngest turns 2 in August. So I have 3 sons, 10, 7, and 2, man, this year.
So you're too young to remember my 3 sons. You can Google it. But you're in the wonderful age group now. You need to take as many selfies with them and work with them and play with them while you can, because once they turn a certain age, you got to pay them to hang out with you.
I remember me doing that to my dad. Then I came back, maybe 23, 24, after I hit my head so many times thinking I knew everything. And then, we got tight again. So I get it. I know what's coming.
Yeah, they're gonna break your heart, and then they'll put it back together. So that's good. I'm gonna keep an eye on you and them. I want to know, what are your predictions? What are your aspirations for 2021, Q?
For me, it's ownership. I feel like, I've worked for so many big companies. I've worked for, radio companies here in Philly. I've worked for radio companies and dumb productions in LA. Work for TV companies here, and that's cool. But I can't pass down to my kids and my family. I can't pass that down to them. So for me, moving forward, it's all about ownership. Whether it's property, and me and we talked about
That's
property.
what we
Whether it's
talked about at the breakfast table. I remember.
yeah, property, tech, and just really owning my entertainment space. So for me, it's about ownership. I always look at what every job I'm at. I'm never looking at like I'm going to be the biggest star. I'm always looking at the bottom line of how much people are making off of what I'm making, and I look at my paycheck. I'm like, it's never comparable. And I will look at a podcast that said, if your job pays you what you're worth, they will go out of business, and that stuck with me.
So, did you ever think about teaching?
I
Because
thought about, yeah, but I actually have a course that me and one of my partners put together. It's called Solo Creator Pro, where we teach people how to be in front of the camera and behind the camera, and we're scaling up and selling that. Because the thing about me now is I'm trying to spend as much time with my kids and my wife while they like me, and then scale up and try to make money while I'm sleeping. That's where I'm at with it.
So I always tell people, I used to start businesses when I worked at PCDC, and a family-owned business. When we used to have Thanksgiving dinners, if you looked around the table, you had enough talent all around that table to start your own family business. The young boy or young girl in the family that understood how to make flyers and tech and social media is your communications person. The other person who was the nerd that got an A in math is your bookkeeper. Miss Sadie, who had a network out there that could put together the promotional stuff, you should utilize. But what happens in our culture, in our community, we don't like each other enough to work together beyond the Thanksgiving dinner, and we should look at that talent that we possess within our own family and community to put it to work entrepreneurially.
Even with my wife, she's a school counselor, and a lot of her issues. She's been a school counselor here in Philly when we lived in LA. A lot of the problems have been stemming from social media. So she has a social media course coming out, I believe, in March. So I've been like, I'm working I'm like Joe Jackson meets Serena and Venus's dad. Like everybody got to. Even a baby. We about to have a baby clothing line. I'm not playing with them, man. I'm not playing with them because it's about ownership.
So what's crazy is the pandemic changed how we do business, how we communicate. We're Zooming more. We're doing Teams. We're doing Blue Jeans. We're doing all of these different social media. And as an old head, it confuses the hell out of me. But some of the etiquette that happens in a Zoom meeting, you need to teach. Your wife needs to teach. Why? I've heard some of the most uncouth, gross things happen on a Zoom in my life. Like people going to the bathroom in the middle of their Zoom, or, making ungodly gastronomical things. And they don't realize that their mic ain't mute and the mic is always hot. A transformation from 2020 to 2021 about one of the things the pandemic did, it made us all slow down. Made us all kind of get introspective about who we really were. We were on that roller coaster and couldn't get off. And then all of a sudden, in the middle of the ride, it stopped. So now we got to kind of take an account of who we are and what we want to be when we grow up. And we all grow up at different ages. Q mentioned that he's 42. He's still a baby in my eyes, but People are
Thank
going
you.
through those introspective assessments of our life and what we want to be in the next quarter of our life based on this pandemic. So yeah, it was horrible, but there's always something to learn and benefit from every life experience. And this was and is Off the Record with Councilman Curtis Jones Jr., Mr. 4th District.
Man, I appreciate you, man. Thank you, man.
Love you too, bro.
Man, love you, man. Seriously. And I listen. Thank you. Tell your wife I said hello. Anytime, man.
All right. You know where I live,
Yes.
so you knock on the door, there's pancakes waiting.
Man, don't threaten me with a good time. For real. Nah, thank you. I'm gonna hit you up.
All right, you got it.